In a surprising twist, a group of 9 senators today unveiled a bipartisan compromise, which was aimed at keeping guns out of terrorist hands in the wake of our shooting 9 days ago. It was 9, because that was the 12th, this is the 21st. Okay. In Orlando. Just in case anyone was confused. You know, it's been all over the news these past, week and 2 days. So, legislation was spearheaded by Susan Collins. She's a Republican from Maine. It would prohibit people on the government's no-fly list and the government's selectee list used for extensive screening at airports from purchasing a gun. And I'm in favor of that because the majority of people, in my view, that have firearms are productive members of society, and I have no beef against the NRA, and certainly I don't think it's right to want to take away guns entirely because of what one person did. But at the same time, we have to address that our laws are not effective, and this law it has a problem that the other laws have, which is that you're going to continue to try going against firearms being purchased legally by these types of people, the ones on the no-fly list and the selectee list. But the problem is that most of those people, honestly and truthfully, get their guns illegally. Now, this man was a different case because he got it legally, and again, we have to kind of pause and remember that, because this isn't the case of someone, like I just mentioned, going around and acquiring something through some alternate means, a firearm through a circumstance that we don't prohibit. But he was still able to get it anyway, legally, might I add. So I think this is a step in the right direction. I really don't know if it'll pass because we've had similar just gatherings of senators from both parties try to get laws done together. The Gang of Eight, as one would recall. And there's always opposition on both sides to these types of laws because you're always going to have the people on the far left, the far right, who don't want that compromise. It's on both sides, in my view. And that's part of the reason why Washington has this reputation of not getting things done. Because we cancel each other out so much that when people come along trying to actually change things, it very seldom actually gets to happen. I like this one quote by Tim Kaine. He's a Democrat from Virginia. "I'm sick of the shootings. I'm sick of the vigils. I'm sick of the homicide victim support groups. I'm sick of the claims that we'll do something about it. I'm sick of the partisan rhetoric. And I'm really sick of getting to the end of all of it and not doing something about it and seeing that happen again and again and again." I don't know if I said again too many times. It's again 3 times. I think what he said, I wholeheartedly agree with. First of all, it's so interesting to me because he uses sick so many times to hammer, his emotional frustration over this. But also, it reminds me of basically every time I read sick in that, was that a paragraph? The few sentences. That's 3 sentences, 4, 5. I'm sorry. In those 5 sentences, I have to count on my periods. Never was that good in math, so it takes me a little bit longer. Every time I read sick in that paragraph right there, I counted a shooting, or I figured that a shooting had taken place that could correspond with the number of 6 that he mentions in this writing. So they're tied together in a way that's not even intentional on his part. They've got support from Lindsey Graham, who ran for president earlier. That didn't go so well. Whatever. Got out before they even were voting, so that just shows you how well he did. But regardless, I'm glad that they're getting a little bit of support. We'll find out more as time goes on. And lastly, I'm just kind of looking over the names of the senators that were also involved. I'm familiar with Angus King and Kelly Ayotte, or Ayotte, or I don't know how to pronounce their last name. Told you my pronunciation skills are horrid. But those 2 I'm familiar with. Everyone else is sort of a blur, and I'm into this on a daily basis. So if I don't know who you are, your name recognition isn't exactly that good. Let's put it that way. Not trying to toot my own horn, but I follow this stuff with a certain level of frequency I don't see with other people. Not to say it's a bad thing, but it is what I do. So thank you for watching and have a good day.